Daredevil has had so many good runs, so it's pretty easy to ignore the bad runs. Yeah, Shadowland, I'm talking about you, you piece of flying shit! But from Frank Miller to Bendis to Wade to even Chips and many, many more, there are some excellent runs of Daredevil out there that everyone should check out. But today, I wanted to look at a run that actually, to my knowledge, has never been collected in trade form or omnibus form, at least fully. In between the legendary Frank Miller run and Sinenti's run, there were a few little, small one-shots or two-shots from different writers who came along the way, but there's one run that is almost 30 issues long, and it's by the legendary Dennis O'Neil. Now, for people watching this, if you don't know who Dennis O'Neil is, he is not only a legendary comic creator, he's one of the greatest editors of all time in comics. Thanks to him, we even got Frank Miller on the Daredevil run prior to his that saved the character from being cancelled. He also wrote Batman a ton prior to that, and it is a critically acclaimed run for Batman. And later on, he became an editor for DC as well, basically built up one of the best runs ever during the late 80s into the late 90s, giving us mega events such as Nightfall and No Man's Land, as well as having all the Bat titles from Detective Comic, Batman, Nightwing, and many more to create something really special to build the Bat family, you know. And he also, I have to say this, created one of my favorite characters of all time in DC, or at least gave him meaning with the Question. He had a great run. I've done an omnibus review. Please go check it out if you haven't, and please go read that because it is one of my favorite runs of all time. So, without question, Dennis O'Neil is a fucking legend. One of the best to ever do it. I especially like that he brings these darker aspects to these grittier characters. It just works so well with something like The Question. So, I was really excited to try his Daredevil run that I heard almost nothing about. And that might have been for a good reason. Now, at the time, I believe that Dennis was focusing on a lot. He was overseeing so much at Marvel because when he comes into writing, it just feels uneven, but it does have a semi-interesting start. There's even an issue early on that kind of feels eerily similar to later Frank Miller's Born Again, which is basically one of Matt's old love interests tells the secret of who he is, and then Matt has to shut it down. So it doesn't escalate quite as big as Born Again, of course, with Kingpin, but the fact that it has that kind of same familiar feel is interesting, and I wonder if Frank Miller kind of piggybacked off of that and made a bigger story out of it. But the highlight of the run, in my opinion, is the issues after, which Daredevil must go to Japan to hunt down Bullseye. So it's kind of cool to see Yuriko, who is Lady Deathstrike from, Mutants and X-Men, but this is way before she becomes that. So she's just kind of seeking help. She was trapped and kidnapped, and then she's seeking help for revenge. So I really like that whole chemistry that Matt has of protecting her, even though we know what she eventually becomes, basically a vicious villain. Well, Matt is also there to hunt down Bullseye while he's recovering in Japan. So it has a lot of fun elements, Matt being a ladies' man as always, some really great fighting. There's some really cool fight scenes in this arc that I personally really enjoyed, and Matt eventually getting there only for Bullseye to already be back home. So this whole build-up feels pretty epic and then anticlimactic at the same time. But then this accumulates to issue 200, where Matt must go to fight Bullseye one-on-one to settle things. And that's, to me, where we start teetering a bit. So the first few issues are building up this kind of nice, dark, revenge-driven tale where Matt is deciding whether to finally kill Bullseye or not for everything he's done. And at this point, you're almost rooting for Matt to go against his moral compass and literally just kill this piece of shit. So I really like that. But we all know that he won't. But the struggle is real. But at issue 200, we kind of get a very plain fight that ends in a boxing arena, which is a metaphor for Matt's father, who fought and was a boxer and then eventually died. This doesn't feel like it's earned, though. It feels like Daredevil's just walking away, and it kind of just feels like whatever. I didn't feel the emotional gut punch I was hoping to. Now, this is my opinion. It seems online some people really like this issue, but for me, the best way I can describe this is it feels anticlimactic. And we'll get back to that word because there's another thing in this run that feels exactly that as well. But I figure that's okay because now we can build upon Matt realizing exactly who he is, that he's not a murderer, but sadly we don't really focus on his psyche or anything. We just go into more adventures. See, where Daredevil starts losing me is that, again, it feels unfocused. Randomly, we have Natasha, aka Black Widow, come back into Matt's life. See, in earlier years, before any of these runs, she was put into the Daredevil, I think, to give them a boost in sales. And maybe that's the same reason here, because I can safely say when any issue with her coming in, it could be entertaining. Who doesn't love a spy with the blind guy beating the shit out of baddies? But they equal to very little. It's just back and forth between two lovers, but it barely feels like it's adding to any big overarching story. And she'll just disappear for like 5 to 10 issues and come back later. Like, what? Why are you even here in the first place? What was your reasoning other than, I don't know, boosting a sale and having a superhero on the cover with Daredevil? I just don't understand. But that's besides the point. My biggest issue in this entire run comes in the form of Micah. See, this craven wannabe loser of a character comes in and drives me nuts. Basically, he's brought over to be a thorn in Matt's side as far as even the lawyer stuff goes, because not only is he very strong, but of course he is part of this political thing because he's a white tribe from Africa, and it feels very much like Craven if, I don't know, Craven was ordered off of Wish. I mean, Micah just lacks any personality. He doesn't feel scary as Craven. He's not as smart as Kingpin. He's not as vicious as Bullseye. He's not even fun as Stiltman. He's just a lame fucking villain. And he's in this thing for about 10 freaking issues of this run. He just keeps popping up as a way to fight Daredevil or stop Matt from helping people. And God, he is so damn annoying and boring. Every time he shows up, I groaned, and it's never ending, and he just keeps coming back. And then when we finally get the conclusion to this character where he finally will stop showing up, it's such a pitiful freaking way to end his character. Just awful, which is a shame because the issue prior to him finally going away is really good, or the issue itself, Matt just beating the shit out of enemies, and he actually seems scary. But God, Micah was so badly done that the time we got to the end of that issue, I was just so glad he's gone that it ruined the issue for me. And you know, issue 220 is a tough issue to talk about because some people really hate it, some people like it, they could consider it fridging. I don't think so. I actually really liked it. Of course, it's more pain, more death in Matt's life as he loses someone else, but I really liked the aftermath of it. I just felt like they handled it pretty well in this type of situation where you lose someone and it's not to a villain and it's not to some super powered plan from some maniac. It's just really sad what happens. And I think they handled it pretty well in my opinion. So I really liked issue 220. I will say that. But then we get this back and forth between Debbie and Foggy, and I gotta be honest, these two characters are so freaking annoying in this run. Foggy isn't always my favorite character, I'll be honest, but he is so insufferable during this run, beyond annoying, to be honest. But I will say, at least the entire run ends solid enough with the Vulture at issue, I believe it's 225, and it's good. It's not great, but it's good. I really liked how the Vulture was written here. But that's it. That's it. This whole run that started on, I believe, issue 194 or 193. I think it's 193. I don't know. Sorry. I read all this in the last week, and it's just, by the time I finished, I was like, oh, fucking thank God. It's entirely skippable. It does build a bit towards Born Again, especially with issue 220, with the death of someone, and you see Matt's psyche kind of breaking down. But honestly, it just pains me to say this. That's the biggest problem. After issue 200, despite 2 or 3 issues here or there being decent, this run is a snooze fest filled with bad villains, bad pacing, drop in, drop out characters, and no vision or meaning to any of these characters. Dennis O'Neil will always be a legend, but this run is anything but legendary. I can see why it was never put into epic or omnibus format because it's best left forgotten. This run is garbage. If you like my video though, hit the like button. I always love that. If you love this video, hit subscribe. I do got more coming out. I do video game stuff. I do comic stuff. I pretty much do whatever I like because I'm having fun in life. So if you like nerdy shit, join me. If not, well, I hope you enjoyed this video at least. Everybody, have a wonderful day. And if you read this run, please, below, let me know what you think. Because, God, awful run. I cannot believe this was written by a legendary writer. Ugh, terrible. Everybody, have a wonderful day.